We are at the penultimate episode of the league season. There are 6 games to go in League 1, and also the slight matter of a game at Wembley against Bournemouth in the FA Cup semi-finals. Not something I expected to be saying in Season 3 of the Cambridge United RTG. Thank you for all of your support on recent episodes. Yesterday's video with the sale of Dominic Brown, or the previous 2 episodes with the sale of Dominic Brown in one, and then the Manchester City game in the next, were very well received. Thank you for your support. I will be taking Dom Brown out of the training regimes as of now. And also, there was a strong recommendation or strong suggestion to look into maybe trying to get Brown back on loan next season. Now, I don't know if that would be a possibility in FIFA terms, because the game sometimes doesn't let you loan players that have just moved. So it might not be a possibility. If it were FM, I certainly could have even factored that into the sale itself. But we shall try and loan Dom Brown back next season. If we can't, then we shall have to wait until we're in a position to realistically be able to bring him back to the club. Adam Ida is starting up top alongside Adebayo for the time being, as we look to improve our goal scoring efforts recently. And Goy on the left-hand side, still Tavernier on the right. Unfortunately for Harvey Nibbs, he just hasn't been cutting it recently. So, Ida, we're going to try and make the most of that loan spell. I'm not sure which game I'm going to sim of the league today. Cheltenham, Rovers and Luton. Now, where are the 3 of those? Cheltenham are rock bottom. Well, let's start by simming this one then, shall we? Then we'll play Luton and Bristol Rovers. Bristol Rovers are 12th and Luton are up in the top 2. Oh, they're 3rd, sorry. They've dropped some places, but with 2 games in hand, can go back into 2nd place by a full 3 points. Although Barnsley extending their lead at the top, and it looks like the title is almost certainly going to be theirs now. But let's start by simming this one against Cheltenham then. And then we can hopefully get ourselves back towards the playoff spots and stand a chance of promotion ourselves into the Championship. High quality football is what we've been playing recently. Not necessarily, but we'll try and boost the morale of the players before this simmed game, and we will fight to the end to avoid the bottom of the table. I'm not sure why they're still asking me about the bottom of the table when we find ourselves in 9th and 5 points outside the playoffs with 2 games in hand. But hopefully in this first game, we can give ourselves a positive result. I think, have a full week's break between each and every remaining game of the season. So we shouldn't have to worry too much until we reach the playoffs, if we reach the playoffs, about squad rotation. Nibbs has come off the bench for Adebayo here after we got ourselves a 2-0 half-time lead through Lewis Page of left-back and Adam Ida. They've missed a penalty 11 minutes from time. Not that that really meant anything, as they didn't score a second goal. A 2-0 win away from home against Cheltenham. That keeps us in 9th, but as you can see, everybody else has played a game on that match day as well, and we're now 3 points outside the playoffs with 2 games in hand. Although, as you can see, Accrington also have a game in hand as well. But should we win our 2 games in hand, we'll go to 67 and up to 70 points, which could take us up to 4th. In fact, would take us up to 4th on goal difference. So we can get up to a potential of 4th, probably 5th, as Aki Stanley have their game to play as well. Although, actually, no, that would take them to 69. Yes, we could go as high as 4th if we win our 2 games in hand. And again, I do believe that we have a week's... Oh, no, the Luton game is midweek. That's frustrating. And then the Tranmere game is midweek. Never mind then. Well, we're going to be playing up to the game against Bournemouth. And then tomorrow we'll have Salford... was it Mansfield and Tranmere? Salford, Mansfield and Tranmere. And Christ knows if we're actually going to have an FA Cup final at the end of the season as well. Cano's saying thank you for being put back into the starting lineup. You are more than welcome, my man. And if we aren't able to get Dom Brown back next season, there was a slight call to maybe move Cano into the CDM role and put Fitzwater into the starting lineup. And that would be how we'd adjust for the time being with the loss of Dom Brown. That's certainly an option and one that I'm considering, although I am open to looking to buy another central midfielder. So, of course, we'll lose O'Hare as his loan spell ends. We were looking to buy someone anyway to replace his loan. Now we've got the money to as well with the sale of Don Brown. We would probably still look to do that. So I'm going to go and sort my training regimes out. Now, obviously, we don't want to continue to train Brown and make him even more expensive to try and buy back. But for now, I'll cut and I'll see you in the next game. All right, Bristol Rovers starting lineup. Jamal Blackman in goal for them again. He was good against us last time we played them. Number of players on a yellow card, but one yellow card away from a suspension. That doesn't really mean much in league football. We wouldn't benefit from them picking up that extra yellow card. If they want to pick up 2 in the same game, then they're more than welcome to. But a 5-3-2 formation for Bristol Rovers, who sit mid-table away from home against a team pushing for the playoffs. We've got George Maris at cam in this one to step in for the not necessarily full fit Alex Conceição. And obviously continuing on with Adamida up top at striker for Harvey Nibbs. Yet to see if that's going to be a positive move for the remainder of the season, but it's certainly something that I'm willing to try out for the time being as we try and force our way into the playoffs. Oh, and we've come within millimetres of forcing our way into a 1-0 lead in this game. But the woodwork in the way for Victor Adebayejo. And now they're in at the other end. He's kicked that against Collins, played a 1-2 off my defender, and then shoots wide there, Duncan. End-to-end in the opening 10 minutes. Switch it across the page. Try and draw that defender towards me if I can. He seems rather reluctant to be drawn out of position, and that's good defensive work from him, because I was going to look to try and get Ngoy in behind. It's poor offensive work for me as I misplaced my pass. Clark will find Duncan, who's had the first chance of the game for his team, and is looking to create a second 1-2. Holmes Dennis with the cross. Can Ngoy get to that to intercept? He can, but I'm not sure if his header will find Adebayejo. It will. And he could look for Julian Ngoy again. There's been some call to purchase Julian Ngoy permanently, and I'm not sure if I actually want to do that or not. But he scored a wonderful solo goal there to maybe force my hand. We will consider signing Julian Ngoy permanently next season. And you guys could give me your feedback on that idea as well in the comment section. Maybe after 2 years' worth of loans, he's earned his rightful place as a permanent Cambridge United player. Here's Duncan. Back to Little. Inside to Agogo. Clark out to Duncan. Lewis Pace steps in. Scored a goal in the simulated game, Lewis Pace, who's clearly having a good episode. And Ngoy is in space on that left-hand side. It's a lovely ball by Tavernier, who's been getting some flack in the comment section from you guys about underperforming on that right-hand side. Certainly I'm looking forward to starting a Campos regularly next season. But personally, whilst he might not have been heavily involved in a lot of the end-of-move stuff, Tavernier is very useful for me on this right-hand side for kind of the assist for the assist, if you know what I mean, or in general, just his hold-up play and overall ability to be involved in a move. So I'm still keen on starting Tavernier for the remainder of the season until perhaps his form really takes a drop off the edge of a cliff. But I have been very pleased with him personally, and I do enjoy playing with him. We just perhaps don't get the end results from him that you might expect for the rating, but I'm going to pull this back to George Maris. I could even score with Tavernier as we're talking about him, and we have. Well, there's the end result. I do, like I said, I do enjoy playing with him. It's rather typical that, as you guys have been criticising him for not getting goals or assists, as I mentioned that, he gets a goal, tucks it away well, good movement on the right-hand side to pull himself away from the defenders and find the space. Not the best of finishes, to be fair, but the keeper couldn't keep it out. And we have a 2-0 lead at home against Bristol Rovers. One step closer to those playoff positions. Brown. Get that to Lewis Pace. The defenders tuck narrow, and it's allowed space for Ngoy in behind. Involved heavily in this game so far. Ngoy and Ida. Oh, I wasn't in control of him until the game had already committed to him challenging for the header. Was looking for the man at the back post that wasn't able to be found. Nearly, though, a third before half-time. I think Julian Ngoy is putting in a very good performance here today, isn't he? On this first game's evidence, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't try and sign him permanently. Next season, we could have Ngoy on the left or up top with Campos on the right as our starting midfielders. I would like to buy another winger, but we'll have to take stock at the end of the season and see how everyone else is growing, because we do have a number of players we could play in certain positions. It would be a case probably of either buying Ngoy and keeping him as a wide player and signing a striker, or putting Ngoy up top and signing a winger, I think. But there's plenty of time to be discussed, or to have the discussion, should I say, about what we do with those wide and striking roles. We certainly know that we want to buy at least one central midfielder, maybe two if we can't loan Don Brown back, or maybe we buy one and loan one with the intention of that loan being Don Brown, and if it's not able to be done to bring Don Brown back on loan, then we look to loan someone else, with eventually that loan central midfielder spot being taken up by buying Dominic Brown back from Liverpool once we're in a position to be able to, realistically get him back at the club. You can understand why he'd go to Liverpool in the scenario that he has done with us in League One, but you could also understand that once we reach the Premier League, if he hasn't been playing regularly and hasn't grown that much, he'd be open to perhaps coming back to the club as well. If we get promotion to the Championship this season, we will be playing in a new stadium next year. At least that's the plan. I haven't looked into how to actually change a team's stadium mid-save. So, off the puck. Wow, lucky for Bristol Rovers. Unlucky for Bristol Rovers. He was offside. Wow. Back inside. They've obviously had the ball in the back of the net once, Bristol Rovers, albeit not counting, so we are fully aware of the threat that they pose. So a third would be wonderful. If I could nod this back across was the intention, to then nod home from a couple of yards on the far side of the box. We'll take Tavernier off here. We'll bring Campos onto the field of play for him, and James Wilding can come on for Lewis Page. We've got a game midweek against Luton coming up, but still, despite those changes, those two players should be able to be fully fit enough to start in that game. And we're trying to get Tavernier in to have one final save before the end of his time on the pitch, but that's not to happen there, but it could yet happen still. That'll be Ajo. We'll look for Tavernier, and around the corner to Adamida. Not got the angle to shoot there. Trying to force something or work something for himself. Don Brown maybe to score one final goal in a Cambridge United shirt. No, and it will be a goal kick, frustratingly. No third goal for us yet, but as the time continues to tick by, we look more likely of getting this victory with every passing second. Oh, nice ball by Clark, but is Mikulski on side here? I'm not sure. The answer is yes, and Clark Harris arrives with his header, but it's not beaten the keeper, unfortunately for them. Unfortunately for me, the throw aimed for Ngoy has gone straight to a Bristol Rovers man, but thankfully, with a bit of calm defending, we've been able to work it. Oh, he says, work it away. Agogo read that in its entirety. And Norris has to make the result. I can't talk. Norris has to make the resulting save. Catch that. He's tipped it away. We will keep it in possession. Right. Now we'll play some calm football and keep the ball in Cambridge United hands, or at Cambridge United feet, shall we? 3 minutes to go between us and a very important 3 points. If we win all of our remaining league games, we will finish in the playoffs. But it's a tough ask, especially with Luton coming up next. It's going to be a very difficult game. And because of the... Oh, good save again. Because of the FA Cup semi-final coming not long after that, we'll rotate midweek and play the team that actually ended up getting the penalty win against Manchester City in the game against Luton. And then this team will play in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. But 3 points against Bristol Rovers is a great start today after the win against Cheltenham in the simulated game. Could have been ever so different if we'd not been able to score shortly after they had a couple of chances to score themselves, and if their ball had ended up in the back of the net and counted after the offside was given. We won again. The lads did it, playing well. All credit goes to them, and I would say they made it easy for us, but we deserved the result from our overall play. To be fair, we did hit the post in the opening few stages as well, didn't we? Threaded by AJ, so we could have actually scored a third more comfortably than we failed to do so, and continually to close the gap on the playoffs. 2 points the gap now, and with 2 games in hand still, it does look very likely now that we will be finishing in those playoff spots. Whether we go up or not is an entirely different matter. Up next for us is Luton Town, a local derby for Cambridge United. They're coming to the Abbey Stadium, and we hope that we can get another set of 3 points. Luton's starting 11, James Collins and Harry Cornick up top again. Luke Berry on the bench. Always key to look for him. Ryan Tunnicliffe in the middle, and Panzu playing again, who was unbelievable for Luton last time we played against them. He really stood out, wearing the captain's armband on this occasion. I can't recall if he did last time or not, but his physical presence and power in midfield was really difficult to play against. He was so impressive, in fact, I would consider scouting him to see if he'd fit my team. That's how much of an impression he made. But we hope to get a point, perhaps, from a team that are clearly having a great season, looking to get themselves automatic promotion. But Bradley has wiped out Nibs inside 4 minutes. A yellow card only, right decision. And we have a penalty. I thought he got something on the ball there, Sonny Bradley, but oh, it looks as if it just bounced over his leg. We'll have to have a look at that. So the ball's played in. And he goes to ground here. Oh, has the ball gone through his foot? Oh my God. Can you believe it? His foot goes through the ball. Takes me out and I get a pen. See, now I'm in 2 minds, because that's absolute bullshit on behalf of the game. His foot goes through the ball and I get a pen. I'm not... You might slate me in the comments for this, but I don't feel like I can justifiably score that penalty and feel good about myself if it leads towards promotion. His foot's gone through the ball. That's just not... That's not fair. If it had happened against me, I would be furious. And you can absolutely guarantee that I'd be going bloody mental about how that could potentially cost us our promotion. I can't. I can't. You might think that I've done the wrong thing there, but I wouldn't feel comfortable scoring a penalty in that scenario. He did win the ball. It's just that the game fucked up and his foot went through it. Sometimes the game fucks up and you kind of think, oh, okay, I'll let myself get away with that. I cannot let myself get away with that. Clark, we've come close to scoring since, in fact. The ball's going to go out for another corner here. And we'll try and get ourselves a 1-0 lead if we can. Keeper's going to come. It's not the best. Fitzwater has the volley, but it hits a Luton man and is cleared away. That will probably divide the comment section, the decision to blast that penalty over, but I feel like it is the right sporting thing to do, given the scenario. Harris into Campos. Campos has gone again. Campos is in the box. What a save by Sluga. Reactions of a cat there. He's just thrown that right arm out. That's a brilliant stop. Clark to deliver another corner that's, again, very well lofted into the box. But for the umpteenth time, Luton have dealt with it. Maris through to O'Hare. Nibs. Go again, Harvey. Is he onside? I think so. Harvey Nibs. Sluga continually making outrageous saves to deny us a goal to go in front. The game had to gift me the opportunity of a penalty to score because evidently Sluga isn't going to concede from open play. Maris, that's a poor pass, or at least the man down the line didn't read it. We have had almost all of the play in this first 45. How we aren't 1-0 up from open play rather than the penalty that shouldn't have been a penalty is a mystery. Dallas just trying to keep possession here. I can't get into a physical encounter with Mpanzu because he will just knock me off the ball. Dallas inside there to O'Hare, looking for Nibs with a little cheeky back heel. It's not going to work. We should win this header, and Fitzwater's done well. Ball to Campos, and around the corner to O'Hare. There's Nibs. I turned the other way. I thought I'd do the defender there. Oh, if it had gone to ground rather than trying to just ride the challenge, we might well have had a legitimate penalty on that occasion. As it happens, we might be ending the half by conceding a chance on goal, and maybe a goal itself. Not the best of clearances, and Monca has the option to play that through. Lays it back to Collins. James Collins! Well held by Dimi Mitov. It would be 0-0 at half-time. Oh, he's given it straight to Dallas to start the half. Luke Berry's come off the bench for Luton at half-time to try and have an impact against his former team. We certainly hope that he doesn't. May even be a player we could perhaps consider bringing back to Cambridge as a central midfielder that we're looking to sign. I'd have to look into scouting him and seeing how good he is. But, I mean, I'd be open to bringing Luke Berry back if you guys would perhaps be open to seeing that too. Nibs will look for O'Hare again here. And we'll get that back to Harvey Nibs. Looking to power past the defender, who can't really make a challenge because I think it was the same defender that gave away the penalty, wasn't it? I'm not sure, actually. But we win this header and have another chance. The halftime stats said everything about how dominant our performance was in that first half. We've continued in the second half in the same vein, but not yet been able to take that 1-0 lead. Even if we don't win this, I'm still not going to regret the decision to purposefully miss the penalty. But I'm hoping that we'll be able to get the win regardless, and it won't matter that we purposefully missed the penalty. Luke Berry out wide here to Fernandez. Early cross to the back post. Flicked on by Wilson, I think. And away for a Luton Town throw. With half an hour to go, they're looking to get themselves a lead in this game. I said as we entered the game that I'd be happy to take a point here against Luton. I still stand by that. But after the way that the performance has gone, we certainly would be frustrated not to get a win if we aren't able to see the ball cross the line to give us a 1-0 advantage. O'Hare forward here to Maris. Oh, I was trying to just turn to get better angle for the pass to get it out wide right. Might have to make a change sooner rather than later to try and give us a fresh impetus here. Cornick trying to force him to go out wide rather than get it down through the gap centrally. That was a lovely little flick. And the cross is decent too. And everybody's ended up on the floor and it fell to Mpanzu. And it's a good save by the keeper. That was really worrisome. Let's bring Charlie Robinson on. And I'm actually going to bring him on for Maris and move Campos central. Campos is supposedly able to play at cam. So I'm going to see if he can play at centre mid. I don't think his defensive stats... No, his defensive stats are terrible. But we're going more attacking. As if we hadn't been attacking enough already. We're going more attacking to try and get this victory. Luton with the corner. And away it goes. Here's Berry. Where's he going to go? Slowing himself up. Back to Mpanzu. It's Luke Berry again. Vital interception from the defender. O'Hare struggling to get rid of it. Cornick to Mpanzu. And Luton have a 1-0 lead. They've done dick all till about the 60th minute. And then we've been penned in. And all of the pressure has been on us. Just unlucky there that we can't get rid of that. But it's a great finish by Mpanzu, the man who we praised prior to the game. And said that we were expecting him to be one of their best players. It has turned out to be, again, Nibs lays that to Campos. We're going to try and get ourselves an equalising goal. Cross to Wildin. Forward looking for the run of Andy Dallas. Found well. Campos looking for Nibs. Found well. Nibs looking for Dallas. Equalising goal. Cambridge 1, Luton 1. We're back level. And that was a really nice goal as well. Great movement from Dallas. Lovely ball into him by Nibs. First time finish. 1-1 with almost exactly 10 minutes to go. Just thinking of getting that back to Fernandez. What I might do after this game is just go and scout Mpanzu and Luke Berry so that we have the scout reports back available for next season. Luke Berry in the box. Well blocked. And we'll get rid of it, thankfully. Wildin forward to Dallas. Into Nibs. Ethan Clark is there on around the outside, but Bradley gets a good tackle in. And his stoppage time is with us now. It looks like it's going to be a 1-1 draw against Luton Town. Unless they score a late equaliser, which they won't do because they've gone all the way back to their back line. 1-1 between Cambridge and Luton. A point against the side battling for automatic promotion. Not to be snubbed. Pleased with the result. Please don't shout at me too much for missing that penalty on purpose. I'm not sure how that decision will go down, but I feel like it was the right thing to do. Adebayo can prove me wrong. And what a stage to prove me wrong. Up next for us, an FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. The biggest game of our entire time at the club. In the home dressing room at Wembley Stadium, we have a win and a defeat at Wembley so far in our time at Cambridge United. Both of which coming in playoff finals. We may find ourselves in a position to come to Wembley again for a playoff final. We may come to Wembley again for an FA Cup final. The team is strong. We shall absolutely try our best against Bournemouth. And it might well be enough to see us be... Well, I don't even know the last time a club in the third tier of English football got to the FA Cup final. I'd have to go and research it, but for now, yeah, they could play in their home kit or their home kit. Bournemouth versus Cambridge United at Wembley Stadium for a place in the FA Cup final. Our starting lineup is the same as it was for the first game, other than Conceição drafted back into the cam role now that he's fully fit to start ahead of George Maris. I've done a little bit of research, not only like 5 to 10 minutes of looking, but I don't believe, aside from the third tier in England, has ever made it to the FA Cup final. Barrow, Lerma, Cook, Dela Cruz, Claude Maurice and Wilson as the front six for them. Stacey Valdez, Mepham and Trigo with Aaron Ramsdale in between the sticks for Bournemouth. Millwall got to the FA Cup final at the beginning of the millennia, 02-03 I think it was, and they lost 3-0 to Manchester United. They were of the Championship at that time, Millwall. I don't think a side I couldn't at least find, was briefly having a look on the way into this game, an example of a third tier team playing in the FA Cup final. Liverpool are the team that awaits the winners of this game in the FA Cup final. They won 2-1 in the other semi-final. I can't actually recall off the top of my head who it was that was involved in that tie. But it is Liverpool that are in the final. And Wilson draws the save out of Norris as Bournemouth look to start the game strong here. I don't know what to expect because I know I say that literally all the time. But on a number of occasions, you don't get the level of performance that you expect from the big teams against smaller sides. But normally that's just big teams, i.e. the top six in the Premier League. Sides like Bournemouth always tend to be a bit of a bogey team for me when I do Premier League saves or when I'm in an RTG and I get to the Premier League. They tend to be a bit of a bogey team for me. But I don't know in this scenario, where we're still definitely the underdog, whether they'll perform to a really high standard or it will be similar to the likes of the top six in the Premier League when you're at the smaller club and they play like overly aggressively and end up being quite easy to beat. So far, I'm struggling to keep possession, so it gives me faith that we should see at least a pretty one-sided tie in the way that Bournemouth play. Whether the scoreline will reflect that, we'll wait and see. We had a not really that difficult run to get to this stage. Nothing higher than a championship team prior to Manchester City in the quarters, but we are 1-0 down after 25 minutes, almost on the dot, as Callum Wilson gives the Cherries a 1-0 lead. And to be fair, as I've been talking for pretty much the entirety of those 25 minutes, that goal has been coming, definitely with the run of play. Tavernier inside to Conceição. Don Brown making a push forward. This is the sort of team you're going to have to be good enough to play against, Dom, if you want to be involved in Liverpool's starting lineup next year in cup competitions, etc. Or lesser Premier League ties. He's certainly of a rating that he could be involved in a Liverpool team. Mid-70s now, at 73 rated. Tom Brown, and probably will be 74 by the end of the season, or at least the start of the Premier League season next year. Hasn't had much to do, really, in the opening stages, but involved here. We'll look for Ngoy in that far side. It's a lovely ball to him. Ngoy will look centrally here to Conceição, who has... Ida there, and I tried to get it around the corner to Adebayo and couldn't quite do it. Bournemouth have been dominant in this game so far, but since the goal, they seem to have let off a little bit, and we've had a little bit more possession. But Romario could whip the ball in here. We might be going 2-0 down, and we are. Brilliant headed finish from Callum Wilson, and it's 2-0 Bournemouth. Noyle down the line to Tavernier. The Bournemouth fans are in great voice right now, singing loud and proud for their team that appear to be, by the first half's dominant performance, on their way back to Wembley for an FA Cup final at the end of the season. We could yet still pull off a miracle. We did against City, and there's no reason why we can't do it again here against Bournemouth. But just as I didn't feel confident against City until those last 7 minutes of regulation time, I don't feel confident here against Bournemouth. But stranger things have happened. I am yet to have a shot, though, in this game. So, less confident, perhaps, than the City game. But this is how you expect a tie like this to go. So, I'm still relatively happy that the game has been as one-sided as it had. I was fearful that Bournemouth would perform really poorly, and it would just show up the lack of realism in career mode yet again. But I'm actually pleased to be losing, and to be losing quite so obviously as well. Try my hardest, though, to try and get something from the game, to give the fans something to shout about, but it doesn't look like we're going to be making history with Cambridge United here. Although, I could have played through Ngoy there if I'd gotten the ball past Jefferson Lerma. Callum Wilson will look for Claude Maurice on this left-hand side. I think he may have been offside, and he was. Dominating possession there, as you saw, 59% to 41 in favour of Bournemouth. But even if we don't get to the FA Cup final, we could very much still be back at Wembley this season for a playoff final. We'll see after this game what the nature of the league table looks like after having 3 games played today, and 4 games total, but 3 games in League One being done in this episode, with the simulated win, the played win, and the played draw. So 7 points from our 3 games, and with games in hand still to play. 3 games tomorrow. Salford, Mansfield and Tranmere stand between us and potentially having the opportunity to come back to Wembley in the playoffs for their 3rd season in a row in this save, in the 2nd division that we'd have reached the playoffs. We might yet stand a chance in this game if Adebayo can find the space to turn and get a shot away. 25 minutes to go. The pressure continues on the Bournemouth backline. Ida brings that down, and his touch is just so bad that it gets away from him. I think I'm resigned to defeat here. But the season could still be a massive success. To be fair, even if we don't get the playoffs, it would still be seen as a massive success to come up from League 2, get to an FA Cup semi-final, and still finish in the top half of League 1. But it is very much in our hands to finish in the playoffs this season. Like I say, I'll show you the league table after the end of this game. But unless Bournemouth have a goal-scoring chance here, which they might do, from the resulting corner as Lewis Page heads away, I think we're going to be going out of the FA Cup at the semi-final stage. But what a day out for Cambridge United fans in this save. Is that going to be a goal kick? Did it come off the defender? It did. Ngoy away. De La Cruz to take it short. Still hear those Bournemouth fans singing super, super loud here at Wembley. They're confident of getting the win. I'm not that confident, and they could make it 3. They have. Bournemouth are going through to the FA Cup final. It will be Bournemouth versus Liverpool to win the trophy. That's us done and dusted in this game. Fine Conceição, who's actually lasted 80 minutes for the first time in forever. Mainly because we haven't had the ball and he's had nothing to do. Made a good run there, though, and Brown is in. We could get that to Adebayo, who's turned well, and Mepham fouled him in the process, and we have a free kick in a good position. And Conceição still on the field to try and take it. It was in the FA Cup that he scored his first goal of his Cambridge United career and burst onto the scene as a potential prospect for us as a scout future star. Before we knew of his stamina issues, was in that game against City last season. No, season 1 in the FA Cup. We lost by 3-1. We've obviously improved as a side since then with the beating of Manchester City in season 3, albeit via penalties. But unfortunately, Bournemouth and the semi-final a step too far for this side. Very, very proud, though, of the progress that this team has made in just 3 seasons to become a side at the minute we could say could hold its own mid-level of the Championship, I think. Although by the time we get to playing Championship football, everybody will have grown further. We will have improved the team further. And by the time we get to the Championship, I think we could challenge for promotion or at least playoffs again. But whether that will be this season coming up or the season after that, we have to wait and see. And we'll find out if we have the opportunity of that in tomorrow's season finale, which will almost certainly be premiered as we push to get ourselves into the playoffs or stay in the playoffs. I'm not sure actually where we are right now after that draw against Luton. I understand the pressure, but let's not feel any pressure from that particular game. It was a game against the Premier League side that are very, very, very good. No shame in a 3-0 defeat at Wembley to Bournemouth. We are 8th in the league as we head into the season finale tomorrow, which I'm certain now will be will be premiered. We shall premiere it tomorrow, and you guys will have the opportunity to watch live with me as we try and solidify our position in the playoffs. Will it be as dramatic as last season, where we thought we might have gotten automatic promotion, but in the end finished 5th? We'll wait and see as we look around us in the league then. We're on 68 points. 3 points behind Doncaster in 6th, with 2 games in hand on them. Accrington Stanley still have their game in hand as well, so can go on to 73 points. We can go as high as 74, which again would put us into 4th place. Luton, well, trying to close the gap on Barnsley, but won't be able to. Barnsley have won League One this season. Bolton could still get automatic promotion, but it does look likely that Luton will be the side that finish 2nd, and we could finish 4th if things go our way tomorrow. We've Salford, who are 12th, Mansfield Town, who are 11th, and Tranmere, who are 19th. All 3 are winnable games. Join me tomorrow for a season finale broadcast live at 3 o'clock via the Premiere functionality here on YouTube, and hopefully we can get ourselves playoff football, but we will find out then. I'll see you tomorrow.